President Donald Trump has issued a veil warning to NATO, raising fresh questions about the alliance's limit. He stated interest in acquiring Greenland and has put the spotlight on NATO's core principle of collective defense. And now the situation seems as if any move by America to seize Greenland would directly test the alliance's credibility. Over the past year, Trump has pressured NATO allies through threats and demands for change. His comments suggesting control of Greenland, even by force, have triggered alarm across Europe, with fears that that move could fracture the transatlantic alliance. NATO allies agreed Greenland, a self-governing territory, has the right to decide its own future. Greenland's prime minister says the territory would choose to remain with Denmark rather than the United States.
We are now facing a geopolitical crisis, and if we have to choose between the United States and Denmark here and now, we choose Denmark.
Soon after meeting, Copenhagen announced it is increasing its military presence in Greenland in coordination with allies. Denmark, which is responsible for Greenland's defense, warned that attack would effectively end NATO.
From today and in the coming period, there will be an increased military presence in and around Greenland of aircraft, ships, and soldiers, including from other NATO allies. Security in the Arctic is of crucial importance for both the Kingdom of Denmark and NATO as a whole.
Now, Europeans have sent their troops to Greenland. Among them is 15 soldiers from France and one British officer who is headed to the Danish territory. Now, this hastily convened military deployment comes ahead of a planned larger exercise called Operation Arctic Endurance. The drill will involve soldiers, naval vessels, and aircraft from Denmark and small numbers of unarmed or lightly armed personnel from Germany, France, Norway, as well as Sweden. The dispute comes at a sensitive moment for NATO. European members are stretched by support for Ukraine. And during this critical time, the rising division within NATO is quite evident. But Poland has now said that it will not deploy troops.
Today isn't really the time or place for a detailed analysis of the geopolitical and military consequences of a potential armed intervention by the United States in Greenland. It would be a disaster in a political sense, and from our point of view, I mean a conflict or an attempt to take over the territory of a country that is a NATO member by another NATO member state. And what's more, it's the United States. Well, that would be the end of the world as we know it, which has guaranteed our security for decades.
NATO allies often send troops to train in each other's countries. The U.S. stations about 150 troops at Pitufik Space Base in northwestern Greenland. Allies, including the U.S., have pushed for years to increase joint exercises in the Arctic Circle. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.